Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. How are you tonight? I am way more ish than 8 tonight. How are you on this Wednesday night? Welcome to Wednesday night, people. You have done it. You are here another day. Proud of you. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? Good to have you with us tonight. Sorry I am so late tonight, but it is great to have you all here. Hey, Kitty, sorry I'm late. I do apologize for my being more ish than 8, but it's been a hectic day. It's been a hectic day. Hey, Adele and Dazzle. Sorry, Dazzle, for being so late with your treats. I'm sure you were driving Adele nuts saying, where is this guy? I know it's treat time. I know it's treat time. But I appreciate you all being here. I'm going to try to get my umbrella ready. Well, I hear the rain outside, but I don't think it's supposed to rain tomorrow. We had some real heavy thunderstorms come through in the middle of the night last night. Like around 2 a.m. we had some heavy thunderstorms. And then it has been clear today, and then it just started raining again. So, I'm sorry, Dazzle, for jipping you out of your treats, for falling asleep, for letting you, but I'm glad you're resting. I'm going to hop right in because I know some of you are going to want to hear that president speak in a little bit. Not that he'll be more ish too. I'm just saying he's not going to be right at 9, right on there. I'm just saying he's going to be more ish. Yeah, it sounds more drizzly. It was more drizzly as I just got home, but I'm glad to be home. Hey, Kelly, how are you? But I can assure you the president will be more ish. He will not be on time. You can't walk in and say, the members of Congress, the president of the United States, and just march your way to the podium. It just doesn't work that way. Lots of people in the way. But he will be on, and I don't want to interrupt that for those of you that want to tune in to it live. So let me get started here. The Good Morning, Good Night book is where we get started every night. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this program. Tonight we're on page 96 if you're following along in the book. Good morning. The world changes. The ground shifts. We still make plans. We still find gifts. Good morning. There you go. There's your good morning, people. I like this quote from Simon. A poor leader will tell you how many people work for them. A great leader will tell you how many people they work for. A poor leader will tell you how many people work for them. A great leader will tell you how many people they work for. I want to skip to what I was trying to cover at the end of last night because I want to get you, those of you that want to tune into the PB tonight. You know, I don't know why he's going to make such a big deal out of, you know, he's almost worked 100 days. You know, we've been working our way through this pandemic for over 411, I think at this point, 410, something like that. You know, I mean. You know, he wants to celebrate 100 days. Are they giving him cake? I want to know if they're giving him cake. We haven't had cake to celebrate yet. But we're getting there, people. We're getting there. But there's a lot going on. So when Facebook cut me off last night, I was talking about the census a little bit. And I'm talking about it a little differently than you're probably hearing about it in the news. You're hearing about redrawn congressional districts and other things, and all that stuff matters. But you have to remember that that the census matters. Your vote matters. You saying I'm here matters. And a lot of people treat the census like jury duty. I don't want to do it. I don't want to fill out the little form. Well, I mean, the little form is part of how Ancestry.com has all its data. That little form is how all the money is coming out right now for aid. Okay, as part of the pandemic, that's part of how it gets divvied up. That's part of how the districts are drawn for the targeted SBA advance. And what is a low income area is based on census data from the 2010 census, is what this is based on. So you got to keep all of that in mind. A couple of things that I found noteworthy in the pandemic, I mean in the census, is that yes, our population, our growth is down, and so there are now more Americans 80 and older than 2 or younger. So there are more Americans 80 and older than 2 and younger right now. Okay, which is a very interesting stat, and that has to do with life expectancy and everything else. But it also becomes a job story, okay, because lower birth rates is going to affect the job pool, and when you have this kind of shift, you typically see rising wages, which we're going to see anyways, because that's part of President Biden's proposal to raise the minimum wage nationwide to $15. But but that you naturally see that anyways with a population declining birth rates. And so you can expect to see growth in wages as a result of this. And this isn't an irreversible thing. Part of it is just the whole dynamics of having children in today's society, and just the sheer cost of it that has people having less children. I mean, if you think about, a generation ago, okay, you had the phone in the kitchen, and you walked down, you could walk down your street in any city and town in America, and you could count every house as $50, okay, for a phone on the kitchen wall. Every house was worth $50 to the phone company. Now, every person in that house is worth $50 to the phone company. So these are just some of the economic shifts. I mean, by the time they're, probably 5 now, somebody's got a cell phone. I don't know. It's a ridiculously low age, and wasn't as low as when I got it. I got my first I was an early cell phone adopter. I got it in college. Rebecca had hers, let's call it 13. I could be wrong, somewhere in there. One more piece of census data that I thought was important. Okay, again, on the whole, raise your hand and say I'm here. Fill out the little form. It doesn't take that much work. Okay, when that happens, New York lost a congressional seat, a seat in Congress, because of the census. They lost it because they were 89 more people, and they would not have lost that seat. 89 people. 89 people in New York said, I'm here. You don't think there were 89 people in New York that didn't get counted? Okay. There's probably a lot of zeros after that 89 in number of people in New York State that didn't get counted this time around. So, but 89 people is what it had. They counted 89 people, they would not have lost that. And yeah, I see on my map, Illinois lost, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and California for the first time ever. So, it's just important, and just something to keep in mind. And that's why I let you know about it and the overall effects to the economy, the economic effects from it, especially as many of us are receiving aid from the relief packages based on 2010 census data. Okay, and that's just the underlying fact of how all this stuff is built. It's all built on census data. That is how Congress does things. A bill is working its way through Congress to establish a pandemic risk reinsurance program. So kind of like the 9/11 insurance, terrorism insurance, there is a bill working its way through for pandemic-related insurance. I don't know that it's going to get all the way where it needs to, but eventually I hope it will. It's still in the very early stages, although it's got fancy literature and everything else. It's got and it's got a lot of good backing, but that doesn't get a bill passed. and it's not a direct priority of this White House. So there are other things that are higher up on the food chain right now. The pandemic, they're trying to put it in the rearview mirror. They're trying to put it in the rearview mirror, which we'd all like to put it in the rearview mirror, except for that we're all still living it. So keeping that in mind, that we're all still living this pandemic and the virus is still in control of the economy, this is something, that people are worried about, that, people are still frustrated that their business interruption insurance didn't cover government shutdowns. Force majeure. I promised you that there'd be some bright lights, coming for newer businesses. Newer businesses that opened since the start of the pandemic will be eligible for in the third and fourth quarter of this year for the employee retention tax credit if they have employees. If they are either meeting the reduction in sales or government shutdowns, they will be eligible for the employee retention tax credit in the third and fourth quarter of this year. President Biden, since he's doing a lot of stuff, he did sign an executive order. Again, I've said many times we're going to get a $15 minimum wage out of this Congress. And he did sign an executive order making it so that all federal contractors have to pay a minimum of $15 an hour, which they say is likely to affect hundreds of thousands of workers. I'm not sure how that affects the contracts that those companies have, but that is something. There were people out everywhere, huh? Even in the rain. Yeah, the economy wants to come back. Okay, people want to be out. I'm not sure it's safe. Even fully vaccinated, I'm not sure where we're safe or not. And that actually brings me to the next and most important thing. I talked about OSHA issuing that there's pressure on OSHA to deliver an emergency technical standard, an ETS, right? I think it is. That's what the initial. Okay. I talked about it the other night. Emergency temporary standard. There's been a push on OSHA since the beginning of this, and OSHA has resisted, to issue an emergency temporary standard. And that is rules that workplaces have to follow, to be a COVID safe workplace. And there has been pressure on OSHA to do this since the beginning, and they have avoided it, saying, one, this is a developing thing. Two, the states were all in on this. It's too much, and they don't have the resources to regulate it. Well, the Biden administration and Democrats in Congress have been pushing, and they actually there's a draft circulating from the Department of Labor, former mayor of Boston, Marty Walsh. And they are likely to issue that. They have a meeting on Friday, and there's going to be a push to issue this very quickly. Very quickly at the same time that restrictions are getting reduced. The rules are expected to require employees to supply, and this is nationwide. This would be nationwide. Regardless of state standards. The rules are expected to require employees to supply their workers with masks, have a written plan to avert exposure in the workplace, and take other precautions that could kick up complaints from businesses over costs as more states relax restrictions. The new mandates, which will be laid out in emergency temporary standards, will be the first time since 1983 that the workplace watchdog has used its emergency powers. These rules would, by the nature of an emergency temporary standard, take effect for 6 months. They would be in effect for 6 months. And you have states like Texas, Mississippi, and others who have completely relaxed their rules will now have to provide their workers with masks and other protective equipment under the federal rules. The rules will also act as a floor for the 14 states that have instituted their own workplace protections. The 14 states that currently have workplace protections are California, Illinois, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Virginia, and Washington State. Okay. So I don't know 100% what the rules are going to say, what as an employer that we aren't already doing. Well, this temporary standard, the way it's going to get applied, Kitty, I'm not sure. And there's a lot of ways that even for that companies of all sizes can fall under OSHA's purview. Okay. And the ruling that they're using for this, hang on a second, I have that here. The rule that allows them to do this, OSHA has the authority to issue emergency temporary standards that affect all businesses when it determines that workers are in grave danger due to exposure to toxic substances or agents determined to be toxic or physically harmful or to new hazards. So OSHA is able to apply this to all businesses of any size when OSHA determines that workers are in grave danger. What kind of danger? Grave danger. You said grave danger. You want me to have the court reporter read it back to you? I asked, what kind of danger? You said grave danger. Okay, anybody know the movie quote? Or agents determined to be toxic or physically harmful or new hazard. Yeah, they're very late. Okay, this is like, the whole thing's over, and it's not over. I mean, I am a big proponent of this is not over. Okay, this is not over, but for this, it's over. Okay, for issuing it, it's really, really late. Okay, for 411 days, you have left this in the state's hands and individual states and businesses to do as they saw fit. And now 411 plus days into this pandemic, you are going to say, oh, now we want to say something. And now these are the rules. It is late in the game. I fully expect, and I don't know how this will play out. First, we have to see what rules they really issue. Right now, I'm just dealing with leaked rules and what I have through my sources. But I personally fully expect, as soon as OSHA issues this, for people to sue, for trade groups. I mean, trade groups oppose this. All the trade groups that have supported us through this, NFIB, NRF, the state retail associations, everyone opposes OSHA doing this, okay, at this point. I expect there to be joint lawsuits against this to get an injunction against this. I don't know what the legal process is for that or how that will happen, but that's what I expect. I expect as soon as this gets issued, I expect a flurry of lawyers to be doing something. Well, they may be planning ahead, but I mean, they're really late on this one. And the reality is this is going to affect a lot of states that already have looser regulations. Even Massachusetts announced yesterday, in conjunction with what the federal government is announcing, when restrictions would be lifted right now in August, based on current data. So there's a lot going on with this. There will be more about this week, but I needed to make you aware of it. You have to be aware of it, especially in states that have really relaxed restrictions. So this could be another thing that you have to, if you have to give everybody a fresh mask every day or whatever it says, this could be a new burden on business. And I don't know exactly how it will be worded, and whether it'll actually get implemented or the lawsuits can stop the implementation. I don't know. I am not a lawyer, nor do I play one on TV. I'm not a lawyer. But that quote was from A Few Good Men, from none of you that got that. Okay? With him on the stand. But hey, I did not order the code red. I'm just saying. But so we'll see. I needed you to know about it because, a couple nights ago it was like, they're just not going to do anything. And then overnight they changed that. And they're like, yep, we're going to have this ready for Friday's meeting to issue an emergency temporary standard. So we'll see. Maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe they'll watch the president tonight and they'll have a new idea. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that I'll keep you informed about it when I do know. And this is what I know as of right now. And I will continue to update you as I know more. And that'll be the way we roll with it. What I also know is that this video and everything that I talk about, goes over to narts.org/resalestrong by noon the very next day. Noon, I tell you, it's all over there. All the forums, files, and a direct link to the YouTube channel. You're not alone running this store, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and yes, you can ring the bell so you know when a new one drops. Yes, you can. You can also share it with everybody you know in business. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. We want to help everybody across the other side. We want to make sure they know about everything, so they're the most informed people that they can be as business owners. I am here for you live in the Narts private Facebook group at more 8 than ish every night. More 8 than ish live in the Narts private Facebook group. But if you have a question in between, you just email me, Neil, Neil at ECIstores.com, Neil at ECIstores.com. We start this program every night with the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this program every night. If you were not here at the top of the program, tonight we're on page 96 for our Good Morning. Good morning. The world changes. The ground shifts. We still make plans. We still find gifts. Good morning. Our good night tonight is the world changes. The earth spins. We grieve our losses, but we eke out wins. Good night. There's your graphics, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah even. We will party again. We will party in person. I don't know when we will. I didn't get invited to a 100th day in office party. I did not get invited to that. But we will party again. And when we do, I will be there with you. But until then, and until tomorrow night at more 8 than ish, know that you, but most importantly you, yes you, you're not alone running this store. It's time for dinner, everybody. Have a great night.